Welcome to the NoCarbNick Show. I'm your host Nick, and today is a very special time of the year. It's Christmas Eve, so we're getting ready for a big Christmas dinner tomorrow. Now what we have here, we're just going to be showing you how to make a brown turkey stock, and the difference between a white and a brown stock is just the handling of the bones. So what we did here is we took the carcass of a turkey and lightly salted them, put them in the oven, 500 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. You just want that nice golden brown. And all you're going to do is put it in the pot and cover it with, always use cold water. Once you fill this stock pot up with cold water, you're going to take it over here to the burner. And I'm going to start it on high heat just to speed up the process. You want to bring it up to a light simmer. And then we're going to let that go for about 2 hours, and then we're going to put the mirepoix in, which is just carrots, celery, and onions. The stock has been simmering for just a little over 2 hours, and at this point we're going to add the mirepoix, but we're going to saute it before. You can also oven roast it if you want, but I prefer to saute it. So you're going to need 2 pans on. One to toast your spices and one to actually saute the mirepoix. Here we have 4 onions. One of them is a red onion and 3 yellow sweet onions. We have 3 carrots and 3 stalks of celery that I've washed. So for cutting mirepoix for a stock, depending on what kind of broth or stock you're making, since we're going to be simmering this for a long period of time, you're going to want your cuts a little bit bigger than normal. So I'll just cut the onion in half and quarter it. And then I'll take the celery and I'll cut it into about thirds or fourths depending on the size. The carrots, since they're a little more dense, I'll cut them down a little bit smaller. So whenever you're making a stock, you're always going to add spices and herbs to it, and it all varies on what you're making, but today what we're going to use is some black peppercorns, about 20-25, 4 cloves of garlic, about 5 sprigs of thyme, and 20 parsley stems. So with the thyme we're going to saute it, we're going to add it in at the end with the mirepoix, but right now you can add the parsley stems right to there. Also the garlic. But what I like to do is just smash it a little bit so it really gets that flavor incorporated. Sometimes you can use cheesecloth to wrap everything in, but we're going to end up straining this at the end, so it's not a big deal. You're going to take the peppercorns and put them in a really screaming hot pan just to toast them. You can also toast them in the oven, but I prefer to do it in a saute pan. It's probably going to sit on there for about 2 or 3 minutes, but once the aromatics start releasing, then that's when you know you can put them right into the stock pot. You can't tell by looking, but you can really get the aroma from the peppercorns releasing their oils. We're going to saute the mirepoix, and unfortunately we only have 1 pan and a lot of mirepoix, and you never want to overcrowd a pan, so we're going to have to do it in increments, which is okay. But we're going to take some olive oil, just enough to nicely coat the pan so nothing sticks. And you want it to be pretty hot because you want it to get a nice caramelization on the mirepoix. And you just let that sit until it gets some color. The color you want. Keep stirring it until you get that color. And then right before you put in the stock pot, you'll take a little bit of time incorporate that in. You'll hear the time pop, and after a couple seconds, you'll toss it right into the stock pot. But you really want that nice heavy caramelization, especially when you're making a brown stock. Process. It's been simmering collectively now for about 5.5 hours, and you want to skim all that fat off. As you can see, there's not much fat in this batch, but you want to get as much out as you can. After this, we're just going to strain it, and you have your finished product. When the stock's done, the last step is just to strain it. And normally you'd use a fine mesh strainer. We don't have one of those, so we're being a little crafty with just a regular strainer and some paper towel to draw all those impurities. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something about making a stock. It's not too hard. Some people just need a little guidance, especially someone like my Aunt Trisha, who's just a klutz when it comes to doing anything in the kitchen. But I hope you're happy with the result, and any comments, just leave them below. Thank you.